Hello and welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast, and I am your host, Samuel. In this podcast, I interview top medical sales reps and leading medical sales executives across the entire country. And it doesn't matter what medical sales industry, from medical device to pharmaceutical to genetic testing to diagnostic lab, you name it. You will learn how to either break into the industry, be a top 5% performer within your role in sales, or climb the corporate ladder. Welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast. Hello and welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast. I'm your host, Samuel, and today we have with us another special guest by the name of Jeannie Nguyen. Now, Jeannie is an account executive for a large Fortune 500 service provider that offers home-based care to patients. But I'm not going to give you all the juicy details. I'm going to save it for the interview. But what you do need to know is Jeannie was a nurse, and she was a nurse that really translated her skill set into being a very effective and high-performing medical sales professional. And for all of you clinicians out there, nurses, OTs, PTs, chiropractors, and the like, medical sales is a fascinating opportunity if you are wanting to stop bedside care or working directly with, just patient care. If you're looking for an opportunity to get yourself into a career that allows you to develop relationships with providers and in some cases patients, but operating with the promotion of a service or promotion of a product, then look no further. Medical sales is for you. And if you're listening to this podcast, and I know you've at least been entertaining the idea, well, I hope this episode speaks to you, because we do our best to bring you guests that represent this population of people. And I think ever since COVID, well, even before COVID, but I think COVID magnified the sentiment that there's a lot of burnout out there. And if you're not burnt out and you're taking care of patients, more power to you. But if you are, there's no need to feel like there's nothing you can do about it. And I believe that's what this industry offers. So let me get off my soapbox, because you didn't come here just to hear me give you my thoughts. You came here to listen to me talk to fascinating guests that are doing innovative things in the medical sales space, and that's exactly what you're going to get. So as always, thank you for listening to the Medical Sales Podcast, and I really do hope you enjoy this interview. Hey, Jeannie, how are we doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Why don't you tell the audience who you are and what you do?
Okay. Well, my name is Jeannie, and I'm a nurse by background, and currently I am account executive for Optum's OB Home Care.
Okay, let's talk about it. Optum's OB Home Care. What exactly is that?
So
before you get started, what is Optum? And then tell us.
So Optum is a large Fortune 500 company, and it's part of the United Health Group umbrella. And basically, Optum has very many different levels and industries within itself, but it's really about health promotion and providing healthcare services to patients, whether it's on the care plan side or other types of services. So within the Optum that I'm currently working in, it's for health promotion, and it's really to help women, obstetrical women, during their pregnancy if they have any needs.
Got it. So is Optum is, what location do you work out of with Optum? Or is it even that way?
It's really remote. Honestly, they are headquartered in Minneapolis, and this is a remote type of role where you have like a regional sales director housed somewhere, and there's a team, and we're all based out of different regions. But essentially, I am based here in my house.
Wow. Okay. So basically you're selling health promotion. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So give us more details. What's health promotion?
Okay. Well, currently in the role that I have now, it's really health promotion for women during pregnancy. So a lot of the times patients may have like nausea, vomiting, and may not really obtain the nutrition that they need. So we can provide services that can help these moms to help reduce their nausea and really to intake more nutrition and food during their pregnancy, or patients that may have elevated blood pressures and may be at risk for something called preeclampsia. So I offer those types of services, and diabetes, like gestational diabetes for moms. We can offer those services for providers to help really monitor these moms throughout their pregnancy for a safe delivery of their baby.
Wow. Okay. So, give us a day in the life, because I'm trying to picture this, and I'm trying to picture how you're doing this remotely. Walk us through it. You're waking up, whatever, what time, walk us through the whole sequence.
Okay. Well, this role is really new to me, but the day in a life is really, I'm going to wake up in the morning and really plan my day and pre-plan the territory of what type of provider offices or hospitals I'm going to go to just really help them understand the market, what I have within Optum Health Promotion to offer for their moms and their patients. And you just go into these accounts and set up meetings. I might provide lunches to do like an in-service and really talk about the services that we have for their moms. And of course, a lot of the time there's traveling involved. And for me, it's a lot of driving. So my territory is driving based. It's really just planning the days, going out to provider offices, really marketing and driving business development with these providers, the obstetrical doctors.
Got it. So, you're remote. Would you say that the majority of your day you're on the road, or would you say the majority of the day you're behind the computer?
I would say probably 70 to 80% is on the road, and the rest would be on the computer just to plan the rest of my week.
Sure. And how does it work? Are you a solo person in your territory just doing your thing? Do you have a team you work with? What is the setup?
I actually am solo. So I'm based out of Texas, but I have a large territory, and then we have other reps within the state as well, but we basically work solo. You're in charge of your own account.
Got it. And who are your main call points?
My main call points are really provider offices and then hospitals, like case managers.
Case managers in hospitals and provider offices. In the provider offices, is it usually the provider that you're trying to get you develop a relationship with the entire account, but is it always the provider that's a decision maker, or does it sometimes fall on someone else?
I would say it's mainly the providers and whoever in their office helps facilitate any services for their patients. So it could be a nurse in the office, a medical assistant, or maybe an office coordinator as well. So it really just depends, depending on the office itself, how it's set up and how large they are.
Wow. Okay. So talk to us about what this career, this space in medical sales, what it could look like for someone that's coming from a different industry, or maybe you don't even have a lot of work experience and they're a fresh graduate, and they're listening to this episode and they're saying, wow, that sounds really interesting. I would love to be behind the progress of making sure women that are pregnant are having healthy terms. So talk to us about what that looks like for someone that's naive to this to get into the industry.
Honestly, for this type of industry that's more like health promotion or service based, I really think that it depends on the person and how they gravitate towards building businesses. If it's more like a relationship, and you're really just creating relationships with these providers for a good cause. So if you're completely out of sight of this industry and you want to provide some type of service that feels good to you, and if it feels good to you, then that's a good reason, as in a why. And it's not necessarily selling. It's really about just building relationships. And I think that's how you have to think about it when you go into this side of sales, because it's really like, I'm your friend. I'm going to help you along the way on a consultative type way, and not really, I have a product for you and I want you to use it. This is something that I believe in. Right. So I think if someone comes into this industry, it has to be something that they truly believe in, and they can convey the fact that I can revolve what you have and tell a story about it to have providers or whoever needs to know about it to use that product or service.
Absolutely. I love that. Now, when it comes to the type of person you should be, we understand that anyone that's entertaining any kind of medical sales They got to be able to develop relationships and enjoy doing that. But let's
Yeah.
go deeper into, what is, if you think of it as you have your medical device sales reps, your pharmaceutical sales reps, your diagnostic sales reps, and then you have these service-based sales reps like yourself. What would you say is unique to what you do and the type of person you need to be if you want to thrive in this space?
You definitely have to have a love for people and really be compassionate about what you do to do this, because if you need to be able to have the grind, right, and be responsible to grind and get your numbers, but you also have to have that soft compassionate piece where you find a reasoning and why that this is good for you. You really can't, I can't do hardcore sales. And I feel like if you're the type of person that's more compelled to have a connection, then service types of businesses is a perfect fit for those.
I love it. I love it. Talk to us about how you found this. What were you doing before you entered this space? Take us to college. You're about
Okay.
to graduate. What's in the mind and what are the plans?
Okay. I actually went to college with business as a marketing degree, and I worked for a little bit, and it came to the point where I started realizing what the healthcare system offered. And I've never been into the hospital before, right? And then I eventually had my father-in-law went into the hospital, and I started noticing how nurses interacted with the patients and the type of care they gave. I was never exposed to it. I was like in my 20s, and I'm like, this is what a nurse does. I've never even seen a nurse in my life. And then it started intriguing me. And I started to go and take a few classes while I was working. And I then quit my job, my corporate job, and I went into nursing for a second degree. And then I totally did the transition over to nursing. Okay.
Wow. What was that like?
It was very difficult to do this entire shift in the middle of me being an adult already, and then thinking, I don't know what I want to do with myself. I think I love nursing. I think I love it. I think I found the sign, but it was late and I'm going to follow it. You
Wow.
know?
So,
Yeah.
so that's a beautiful experience to have. I want you to take us back to when you realized that you wanted to be a nurse. You went for it. You went to school, and then you became a nurse. Did you ever have a moment where you said, in the middle of whatever you were doing as a nurse, that wow, I'm here, I'm doing this thing, and it's exactly what I thought, or not?
To be honest, I went in and I'm like, wow, I'm a nurse. I graduated. I'm doing all these things. And then reality hit me and I'm like, okay, I don't like any of this. This is actually not meant for me.
How, how long did that take? How long did that take?
It took like, I think 3 or 4 years. I
3 or
was
4 years.
trapped. I was like, this is not fun. Like, real talk. I was like, this is not what I envisioned. This is not in all its
Oh,
glory.
wow.
I got burned. I felt like I love the fact that I'm a nurse and I know I had to go through all that, but I'm like, okay, I need to find another reasoning. Like, I need another sign to tell me that I can still be a nurse, but not the type of nurse I was doing. I was working at the bedside at the hospital, and I'm like, I cannot sustain this until I retire. My body physically cannot sustain this, is what I thought.
So then what did you start thinking you need to do? Where did you start finding this out into this wonderful opportunity that you have today?
I started looking around. I actually enrolled into master's program, and I was going to be a nurse practitioner because I needed to find a way to get out of doing the physical work of being a nurse. And while I did that, I was praying a lot and I looked for jobs everywhere. I really didn't know where I was looking at. I had a friend that worked in pharma as a nurse educator, and she told me, you would be great at this. Like, you've got a marketing background, but I just didn't know where to look. I didn't know where to look. I had no idea what the positions were called. And I was blindly like applying everywhere. And and then I landed myself into a role at actually an infusion pharmacy um, at first. And, I didn't know. It was at that end, it's almost like a Hail Mary. It's like, all right, I'm going to give it all I got because
Let's see what happens.
I got to do this because I'm in school right now to be a nurse practitioner, and I don't even know if I want to be
Yeah,
a nurse.
yeah.
Okay. So that's really how it happened. And I transitioned over as a clinical liaison for a pharmacy.
Wow. And it's funny you say that because, believe it or not, we have a lot of clients that are nurses that they really feel it's either I be a nurse practitioner or I explore something else. And when they find us and ultimately decide to enroll in our program to get a medical sales position, they're thinking, I don't know what else is out there, but it's either nurse practitioner or whatever else is out there. So it's
Yeah.
what you're explaining is exactly what we see.
Yeah, I almost feel bad, but then I'm like, I cannot feel bad anymore. This is how I feel. It's not for everybody.
Mhm.
I enjoyed it when I did it, but I knew that I would not sustain my mental health or my physical health doing nursing at the hospital. It
Absolutely.
wasn't for me. Yeah.
So you did get a master's degree, you said?
I dropped out.
Okay.
I dropped out my second semester when I got the offer.
Okay.
Yeah, I got the offer letter. I started in January. I withdrew for that semester. And I was like, yes, baby, now I'm making more money than a nurse practitioner. And I didn't even have to pay for that student debt.
Hey, come on, come on. I bring it up because you have quite the pedigree. Marketing, business, actual bedside nursing, and back into a position where you can utilize marketing and bedside nursing. I mean, that's a beautiful place to be. You're able to really capitalize on what you've been able to do while in school.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So how do you make this all work? You were a busy nurse. You're now a busy sales rep. I'm sure you have a family. Talk to us about how you balance life and make it all work. Or is there no balance and you're just trying to make it happen each day? Break it down for us.
I have complete balance right now, and I am completely at peace. I have a family, and to me, it really just they come first. Family comes first. My children are still small, so they come first.
How many?
And I have two, and they're in grade school. And a lot of the times, this type of position allows the flexibility that I can plan my weeks out. And I love the fact that I can plan my weeks out, because if I know that I'm going to be on the road and I'm going to be seeing all of these accounts, I'm going to go do all of them. But if I know like one day my child might have an event at school and I need to be there like at 2:30, I know that I can do everything else on all the other days and plan that time slot so that way I can be with them for that time. So it's the balance for me that drives me to this type of sales.
Sure.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Give us, give us a story where you really got to see the fruits of your labor with this position. And I don't mean your compensation side. I mean more you learned about the impact you had by selling a certain office on one of your services. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Sure. I think I have probably a lot of stories, but when I was working as a nurse at the infusion pharmacy, a lot of the times the selling comes from the key account executive, but then the selling also comes from the clinical support standpoint, where I have a lot of patient interactions, and I would have patients that I'm helping educate them to be their own advocate once they get out of the hospital and they're receiving packages of medications, like tons of IV medication. And they're like, what am I supposed to do with all this? And I feel like I've built relationships with the patients to the point where they would call me even when they're no longer on the medication. And they would say, thank you for everything that you've done, because I was able to be out of the hospital. I don't need to be in a hospital for 6 weeks to get IV medication. You taught me and gave me the support that I was able to do it on my own in my home. And I think that's the key of it all. There are so many stories that I could tell you where patients thrive and they can advocate and do things for themselves, and all they need is the support. And teaching them and having them do it was the most valuable part of that job for me, because I always felt that I still had that human connection with these patients. And that's what nurses, I think a lot of us love, is that human touch. I need to know still that I'm providing that wholesome care to someone, even if it's like selling.
Right.
something, and it's helping them live longer because they're healthier, or this could be a transition for them. It might be something where they're near end of life, but I'm providing them and educating them on how to provide nutrition to themselves intravenously so that they can live at home and be with their family before they pass.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in the hospital just
Right.
because I can't eat. Teach me how to do it and let me be with my family before I pass.
Wow. Okay, so with this position, what would you say the top three challenges are?
I would say the top three challenges is really turning off my clinical hat sometimes and really trying to think strategically to drive the goals that I'm given. That's going to be one of them, because a nurse at heart, sometimes you want to do the best, but it may not be the best for business.
Give me an example.
There may be times where you have a patient and you really want to go the extra mile for them, but business wise, like, we cannot take this patient. We can't accept this patient because we don't take that insurance, for example.
Oh.
And as a nurse, I see the patient and I'm like, I need to do everything I can to help them. Like, I don't even know. I'm going to call a competitor and that can service them, and I'll do that.
Right.
So it's almost like partnering with competitors that can take the patient, but they don't teach you to do that all the time in a sales role, but you do it because it's right for the patient and they need that service, whether if you can supply it or not. You'll find someone else to supply it for them.
Wow, your heart is in the absolute right place. That's wonderful to hear.
It is.
Wow. Give us two more.
Two more. The difficult things. Okay. Also, it's managing the time. I feel like, as a nurse, I'm used to getting orders and the task, and then I just do them. And being on the sales side, you really got to be more strategic as well. Like, you cannot be told what to do every single day. You've got to be able to do it on your own. You're given resources to excel, and you utilize whatever resource that you need to get your job done or to build business. You're not going to be handheld. Right. You're not going to have someone to sit there every single day and micromanage you. I don't think sales is for any type of micromanagement. You're literally on your own and you drive your own growth. And if you don't, then it's not a fit for you. So as a person coming into this profession, you really got to know how to just use whatever resources you have and go with it. Okay. And figure it out. Solve the problem.
Okay. So keep off the nurse hat and think strategically. That's one of the challenges. Number two, be ready to solve the problem, what you just explained.
Yeah.
And what's number three?
Number three is going to be to set your boundaries. Because I feel like also as a clinician going into this, at first I would get myself burnt out because I didn't know how to set my boundaries, because I'm in a sales department. What I do is what I do. And then when it comes to the patient moving over to being serviced, maybe on the clinical side, I want to extend and offer my help that's outside of my boundaries, and then you get burnout.
So tell us, what does that look like? Does that look like a provider calling on you because they're looking for insight from you as a nurse? Does that look like something else? I mean, what does you not having a boundary and going a little bit over that look like?
Sure. An example would be on the weekend. Let's say I had a provider or case manager call me and they're like, this patient needs to leave. When I know for a fact that we don't work on Saturday, Sunday. We're not open on Saturday and Sunday. Insurance aren't open on Saturday or Sunday. But what I want to do to go the extra mile is I take my time when I'm not supposed to be working, and I still work up a referral. And I will run to the hospital because I know that I need to get this. I can still see this patient so they can leave, and I would do that because sometimes the patient's like, I need to go home. My ride will be here on Sunday. And I'm like, well, no one works on Sunday. But let me go up there and I will educate you and tell you about our business. And you've already accepted the service, and we'll work on everything on Monday. But today's Sunday, my day off. I'm not working. We're not open, but I'm going to overextend myself. So I think a lot of the times is going into this business, you've got to set your own boundaries too. Because if not, especially being a clinician going in, you may be used because you're wearing both hats.
Mm. So what specifically have you done to mitigate this and set those boundaries?
I put my phone on do not disturb
Okay.
at 6 p.m. because I would get calls at
Mhm.
midnight, even from patients that would call me and have a question. And I'm like, you have a phone number to call. It's a 1-800, or it's a main number that has a nursing triage line for you to call. And the patient knows that I'm the nurse, though, and they saw me because I could have been educating them maybe on the service that we offer, and the patients will call me. So I think the best thing I did for myself was really putting my phone on do not disturb on the weekends. I had to do it.
It works. No, I mean, that's the reality. It works.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Okay, we're gonna be wrapping this up soon, but I want
Okay.
to understand something. What I love about your story, Jeannie, is whenever you feel moved to explore something, it sounds like you've been doing that ever since you graduated college.
Yeah.
And you've been consistent, and it's led you to where you know you're supposed to be. What would you say is the driving force behind that? Do you have like a life philosophy or something that grounds you or sustains you? And if you don't, that's fine. But if you do, please share.
Sure. I actually don't. My thoughts always are constant, and I always feel like I just need to go with what feels good for me at that time. I don't ever want to feel trapped. And, every time I had the feeling of feeling trapped, I kept thinking, how do I get out of it?
Mhm.
And I moved towards that feeling because I don't want to have negativity or anything that I dislike. I want to be able to do something, enjoy what I'm doing when I'm doing it, and make a purpose for myself, and also be positive around the people I'm with, whether it's my family, my children, or my colleagues. I want to feel good. So every time I have a good feeling, I just go towards that feeling.
Nice, nice, and you keep it simple.
Yeah.
I love it. So, is there anything you'd like to leave with people that are listening to this episode right now, and they're saying to themselves, "This is so cool. I have to explore this." As they prepare to explore it, is there anything you'd want to share with anybody that's considering being in your space?
Yeah. Honestly, if they feel like they want to be in this space, it's possible. I'm not saying it's not difficult, but it's definitely possible. And for a lot of clinicians feeling what I felt previously, which was really the burnout, all you have to do is really open your eyes and look for resources, because there's resources everywhere, and utilize that to just go towards their good feeling.
Couldn't have said it better. All right, Jeannie, are you ready for the lightning round?
Okay.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I asked the questions here, young lady. Okay.
Okay.
I asked the questions. All right, all right, all right. So, Jeannie, first question. What's the last book you've read in the last 6 months?
Okay. Mo Williams.
Best book, not last book. Best book you've read in the last 6 months.
I'm going to be honest with you. In the last 6 months, the only books I've ever read are children's books, and they're Elephant and Piggy by Mo Williams for my children, and
Okay.
they love it. It's super funny, and that's all we've been reading for the last 6 months.
How does Mo Williams compare to Dr. Seuss?
They're shorter, so I really like that, because those Dr. Seuss are very long before bedtime.
I have two. I
Trying to skip
completely
pages.
understand that.
They're like, you skip 3 pages. I'm like, oh
Right,
my,
right.
yeah.
Okay, Mo Williams. I'll have to keep mental note. All right. Now, movies, TV shows. Best movie or TV show that you've seen in the last 6 months?
Okay, well, I just watched Barbie, and that was a very good movie.
I haven't seen it, but gosh, talk about a polarizing film. I hear all kinds of things, but I have not seen it yet.
Yeah, it's all about empowerment, and I'm all for it. TV shows, I'm going to be honest with you, I really don't read. I don't watch TV, and I don't watch movies. If it's on because someone is watching it, I will watch it in the pastime, but it's whatever the kids have on TV.
So then, and this is kind of veering off, but I want to know. So when you're not playing with kids, when you're not working, and you're not spending time with your significant other, what are you doing?
I am on social media.
Oh, as an influencer.
Yeah, I am.
Ooh.
I'm on it, or I'm scrolling. I'm
So
always on.
you have to tell the audience what your platform is. I can't believe we missed mentioning this. What is your platform?
So I like to post videos and content on TikTok mostly, and sometimes on Instagram about what it's like to be a nurse in sales.
That's awesome. That will be in the show notes, everyone. Her link will be in the show notes. Okay, so next question. What's the best meal you've had in the last 6 months?
The best meal? Oh, okay, hot pot.
Hot pot. Why do
I
I
don't know
like
if you've ever had hot pot. Well, I'm Asian and we love soups. And hot pot is really delicious and yummy where you have like pots of broth, different flavors broth. And we have different meats. And it could be like Wagyu meat, pork belly, crab, and both of them. And plates of vegetables like cabbage and mushrooms. And everyone sits as a family and we all just put our foods into the broth and take it out and we eat it with like noodles.
Wow.
But
So
it's
where,
like
where can someone get this hot pot experience?
I'm from Texas and Houston has tons of hot pot restaurants everywhere.
Yeah. Okay.
Or you can just make it at home. Broth with whatever your favorite meats and vegetables are, and you just make a meal out of it.
Okay. Just in case, for those in Texas and for those that might be going to Texas, what is the best restaurant to get a hot pot dish? Or at least one that you endorse?
Shabby Square.
Shabby Square. Where?
Shabby Square. Yeah,
Shabby
they've got
Square in Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's gonna happen. That will also be in the show notes, everyone. And last question. So what's the best experience you've had in the last 6 months?
The best experience I had, do you mean on a professional level or just
any level you want to share? I want the best, whatever it is.
Okay. My best experience, I recently just transitioned over to a new sales role, which is what I'm in now. And that experience started with when I was a nurse in the clinic and I made friends with a sales rep there. I followed him. We've been friends on LinkedIn. We've been friends on Facebook. And when he retired, because he's been there for that long, I scooped in and I took his job. So I feel like I made a whole,
Yeah, that's amazing.
with that.
That's such a natural progression. Yeah, such a natural progression. That's wonderful. Wow, Jeannie. Okay, so Jeannie, where can people find you on TikTok? What's your handle?
So it is Nurse Jean Star.
Nurse Jean Star. So make sure you guys see that. Jeannie, it was wonderful having you on the show today. We've learned so much about this space, and we can't wait to see the wonderful things you continue to do in healthcare service sales.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And that was Jeannie. Fascinating story, and I can't say it enough. She was really able to leverage her skills as a clinician into a career that she absolutely loves. And for any of you listening, regardless what type of clinician you are, or even if you're not a clinician, but especially for those of you that this episode spoke to, you can do the same. And you don't need to guess or wonder or try in vain. You can do the same in an extremely powerful way that works. And that, you already know what I'm going to say. If you've listened to these podcasts for any period of time, then I'm going to do what we need to do. The number one thing that we hear I hear anyway, when it comes to a client of ours attaining a medical sales position is, Samuel, why didn't you guys find me sooner? We probably hear that more than we hear anything else. So what does that say? That says there's a lot of people out there that they want to show up differently. They want to step into an opportunity that can give them an entirely new life, that can reward them for their impact, that can allow them to utilize this amazing skill set they were trained for, and that can allow them to exercise a kind of work and life balance that you can only dream of. This is medical sales. This is what healthcare sales does. That's what it offers. So listen, stop wondering, stop hoping, stop thinking, and let's just step into some action. Go to our website, evolvesuccess.com, fill out the application, and just have a conversation with one of our account executives, and let us show you what life can look like. As always, we do our best to bring you innovative guests that are doing things differently in the medical sales space. Make sure you tune in next week for another episode of the Medical Sales Podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And remember, I have a couple programs that show you exactly how to break into the medical sales industry, become a top-performing medical sales professional, and also how to masterfully navigate your career to executive-level leadership. Check out these programs and learn more at evolveyoursuccess.com. Stay tuned for more awesome content with amazing interviews.